Let's take a look at some action verbs. A verb, as you recall, is an action or a state of being. That means an action or a linking verb. But most verbs are action verbs. There are very few linking verbs, including the to be verb. And so what do action verbs tell you? Action verbs express time with the verb tense, for one thing. So you look at the action verb to see when this action is happening. So in our sample sentences, we have the team practices every day, and that is in the present tense, we can tell. And this happens every day, all the time, in the past, present, and future. The team practiced yesterday. That's in the past tense, right? The team had practice before they played the game. So this is called past perfect tense, and it tells you that this action happened first, and then another action, the past tense action of played, happened next. So that's the one important aspect of action verbs. If you're writing or editing your paper or someone else's paper, look at the verbs and check to see if the tense is used correctly in relation to all the other actions that are going on in your writing. In order to become a better writer, one of the things you have to learn to do is to replace dull words with better words. And so you need a strong vocabulary, and until you get that, you can use a thesaurus, of course. Try to look up words that are similar words but much more effective because they're more specific, more active, more vivid words. So let's look at some examples here. The rule here is to replace static verbs. And by static verb, we mean verbs like the to be verb. A verb that just tells you that something is just there and not really doing anything. It exists. And that's not very effective. So if we had a sentence like she was in the chair, it would be much more preferable to say she fell into the chair, maybe she collapsed into the chair, she plopped into the chair. Each of these words give a different impression of what's happening and what that character is possibly feeling instead of just sitting in the chair. And that's just too vague, and it could mean a lot of different things. And you as the writer should narrow it down and add emotion and add some kind of meaning behind the action. You should also make an effort to replace overused verbs. So when you say something like the president said that he was right, well, the word said, if you have a conversation going on, you're going to say said, 20 times on a page because he said, she said, he said, she said. But we don't want to keep repeating the same word. If you look up the word say in a thesaurus, you will find that there are tons of words that you can use to replace the word said. And you can use words like the president claimed that he was right, or the president asserted, or the president insisted. And there are plenty other words. You should familiarize yourself with a lot of these words, especially if you are writing for a standardized exam or even just school essays. When you're analyzing literature, you're going to have to say that the author said something, the critic said something. These words will get used a lot to say that somebody is making this point. And so you should try to use words like claim, asserted, insisted. But this is only an example, of course. Whenever you are told to revise your essay, when you turn in a draft and the teacher okays it and says, okay, you should revise it, it doesn't mean that you read it over and just check for punctuation. Your first draft is not a perfect paper. When you're revising, you need to go through and check for words like this, what a lot of teachers commonly call TV language. If you have any TV language, you should make an effort to change them so that it improves your paper. That's what the revision process is for.